Hi there. Thanks for watching. I'm Anita, investigative health coach and founder of Anita Ray Health. Today, we are going to cover part one of a three-part video series on a very important health topic that affects a lot of people. Our video series topic is on thyroid health, and today we'll talk about what symptoms indicate that you might need to go get your thyroid checked. Now, don't turn off this video thinking, oh, I'm sure my thyroid's fine, or this topic doesn't apply to me. The crazy thing is that more than 12% of the US population will develop a thyroid condition during their lifetime. And it's estimated that up to 60% of people with thyroid disease are undiagnosed. This means that there are millions of people walking around with thyroid issues and they don't even know it. Both men and women can get thyroid disease, but women are 5 to 8 times more likely than men to have thyroid problems. In fact, 1 woman in 8 will develop a thyroid disorder during her lifetime. These shocking statistics are from the American Thyroid Association's website, thyroid.org. Now, as I was considering what topic to pick for this video series, I read that January is National Thyroid Awareness Month. So I figured, this is a great topic for me to cover in our video series. This condition is more common than expected, and it puts people at high risk for other health problems if it goes undiagnosed. Now, clients who come to see me for help have been to the doctor and tried a lot of things, but they're still struggling physically and emotionally. So my job is to help you figure out what your body needs to finally feel great inside and out. Now, common complaints of my clients include feeling tired or sluggish, anxious, can't focus, brain fog, low motivation, digestive problems, difficulty sleeping, and more. These types of symptoms are general, and they could be related to so many different health issues. Thyroid dysfunction is just one possibility that's important to rule out. I ask my clients who have these types of symptoms if they ever had any thyroid testing done. So today we're going to focus on the possible symptoms of a thyroid problem. In video 2, we'll talk about why I follow the motto, test, don't guess. In video 3, we'll discuss possible reasons why the thyroid gets off track and if there's anything that you can do about it. So keep in mind that there's no one set of symptoms when it comes to thyroid problems. It looks different in each person. One person might have just 1 or 2 of the symptoms. Another one might have several. And because the possible symptoms of thyroid issues can be caused by so many different health conditions, you can't just look at this list and freak out and say, oh my gosh, I definitely have a thyroid problem. But if you're concerned, the only way to know is to get tested. So we're going to talk about other possible causes of fatigue and mood problems, digestive issues, hair loss. Talk about all those other things, other reasons why in other video series. So before we go further, let me mention a quick legal disclaimer. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't diagnose, treat, or cure thyroid disease or any disease at all. This information is being provided as a self-help tool for your own use, and it's for your informational and educational purposes only. It's not medical advice. It's not a substitute for advice from your qualified doctor or mental health professional. I always want you to talk to your doctor before you make any changes to your diet, lifestyle, or your supplements. But what I would like to do today is to share information that I have learned along the way in my own health journey and training. And these are things that would have helped me more quickly dig my way out from several seemingly unrelated symptoms in my brain and body. So before I pull up the long list of possible symptoms of thyroid problems, let's quickly review what the thyroid even is. So the thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped endocrine gland, and it's located in the lower front of the neck. It produces hormones that influence metabolism and energy, and it can affect many parts of the body. Every cell in the body has thyroid receptors and depends on the thyroid hormone in some way. Because of this, there are so many possible symptoms that could be related to an under or overactive thyroid. Now, this is why asking for thyroid testing is so important. How these symptoms present in one person with thyroid issues will be different in another. And you aren't going to have all of these symptoms showing up at one time. Your situation might be different, or you might have something else that's not a thyroid issue. Another reason to ask to be tested, though, is if you're concerned that your symptoms are associated with thyroid issues, they are often mistaken for other conditions. They think you might have depression or aging or poor lifestyle habits, and taking an antidepressant or exercising more, it's not going to help you if your true problem is a thyroid problem. This is a situation where you need to be proactive. Undiagnosed thyroid disease can put people at risk for some very serious conditions if it goes undiagnosed. And just so you know, for this video series, we're not going to discuss all of the possible types of thyroid problems. We will not be covering congenital forms of thyroid problems that are in babies. We're not talking about pituitary gland malfunctions or thyroid cancer. What we will review are the more common forms of thyroid issues that are related to under and overactive thyroid. These conditions can be autoimmune related. The autoimmune hypothyroid deficiency problem is called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. The autoimmune hyperactive excess problem is called Graves' disease. And in these autoimmune forms, elevated antibodies from your own system, own immune system, are attacking your thyroid. In videos 2 and 3 of this series, we'll talk about why it's important to know if your thyroid problem is autoimmune related or not. Now, there can also be situations where someone fluctuates between too little and too much thyroid hormone while the gland is being slowly destroyed. These symptoms can be very confusing, and you may actually end up having a mix of both of those conditions. Okay, so now let's take a look at the graphic that I created. I want to show you just how many different possible symptoms could show up in your body if your thyroid is struggling. I'm going to share my screen now so that you can see the graphic while we're talking about it. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now, the graphic that I created called Could It Be Your Thyroid? And I'm just going to go through some of the symptoms, the possible symptoms of hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, so you can get an idea of the differences between the two and what kind of symptoms we're talking about. If you start experiencing these symptoms, when should you probably go, try to get your thyroid tested? I do want to reemphasize that thyroid symptoms, they vary from person to person, and it can range anywhere from mild to severe depending on how long you've had the thyroid issue, and it can get worse over time. It can be slow going, or it can happen suddenly, say after a pregnancy. Other health conditions can cause very similar symptoms to thyroid problems, and that's why it's often missed. So it's important, if you have, a couple of these symptoms or several of these symptoms, that you go ahead and get tested, because the only way to know if you have a thyroid issue is to go get tested. All right, so if you look on this side over here, the left side is possible symptoms of hypothyroidism, underactive thyroid function. Underactive means that you've got low thyroid hormone, your body's not getting enough of it. On the other side, we've got possible symptoms of hyperthyroid, an overactive thyroid function, which means there's an excess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here so we can take a look at the symptoms of each one of these. These are the underactive thyroid, so more of a slowing down of the body. And I'm just going to read through these pretty quickly and we'll go through them. So hair loss on scalp. Also, the outer third of the eyebrows and eyelashes can lose hair. So you can look in the mirror and check for that. We got depression, anxiety, mood swings, poor sleep, hoarse voice or sore throat, neck discomfort, decreased sweating, overly sensitive to cold, depressed immune system. Now over here on this side, we're going to look at more of the symptoms for the slow underactive thyroid: headaches, dry coarse hair, brain fog, forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating. You could have puffiness in your eyes, face, or body, difficulty swallowing, an enlarged thyroid, which is called a goiter, dry, coarse skin, fatigue, lack of motivation, slow heart rate. Now, believe it or not, there's actually more symptoms than that, so I'm going to pull this down and take a look at the rest. So we have, again, we're talking about the underactive, slow thyroid. So we got depressed immune system, high cholesterol, diminished reaction time, digestive problems, infertility, miscarriage, decreased libido, constipation, abnormal menstrual cycles, heavy menstrual periods. Up here we've got slow heart rate, muscle and joint pain, muscle weakness, slow wound healing, tingling in the hands or feet, cold hands and feet, thin or brittle fingernails, ridges on the fingernails, weight gain, and inability to lose weight. Now you can compare this to the other side where we were talking about the overactive, where you've got an excess of the thyroid hormone. And you'll see it's a lot of them are the opposite of what we were talking about before. We've got hair loss, irritability, mood swings, vision problems, eye irritation, bulging eyes, enlarged thyroid gland, increased sweating. Here we have heart palpitations, irregular heartbeat, rapid heartbeat. Instead of the slow heartbeat, it's now fast heartbeat. Fine brittle hair. You got the anxiety, nervousness, panic attacks. Your body is just sped up. Difficulty swallowing, shortness of breath, sleep disturbances, muscle weakness. Got heat intolerance instead of cold intolerance, weight loss instead of weight gain, diarrhea and loose bowels instead of constipation. You can see the differences between having too little and too much. Dry, thinning skin, hand tremors, and infrequent light menstrual periods. So if you'd like to get a copy of this graphic that I'm showing on the screen, you can click the link in the description or comment section of my post, or you can go to anitarayhealth.com/thyroid-intro to get a copy. Again, that's anitarayhealth.com/thyroid-intro. Okay, so we just reviewed the graphic with the symptoms of possible thyroid disease, and fatigue is definitely the most common for a hypothyroid, but you could have a mix of any of those symptoms for either one. So, all right, so that's all we're going to talk about for now. Thanks for staying with me. I hope that you found this information helpful. And as I said earlier, this is a 3-part video series, and you just listened to part 1. So keep an eye out for the next 2 videos by visiting my Facebook page, Anita Ray Health, or if you go to anitarayhealth.com/thyroid-intro and request that I email you the graphic we discussed today, then I can email you links to watch the next videos once they're posted. Coming up in part 2, we'll discuss what type of thyroid testing you should ask for, why it's important to get checked if you think you might have a thyroid issue. And then in part 3, we'll discuss common root causes for these type of issues and what strategies you may consider to support your body. So I hope you enjoyed this thyroid video 1 of the series, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in video 2 and 3.